Hey guys, this is Jean-Luc with SW Outdoors, Skywalker Outdoors, and I'm here with the DD's Hammock 3x3 Pro Tarp. Like I said, it's been a while since I did my first ever video with this tarp. This is the Pro Series tarp compared to the original, and I'm here to show you some configurations. With the original setup that I had, some A-frames, some things with the trekking pole as well. So stay tuned, and thanks for stopping by the channel. Again, if you're new, subscribe, like, comment, and turn those notifications on for new videos. And those who are on the channel and have been viewing, thanks again for stopping by. So I'm taking it out right now. Like I said, I have the Trekology Z series trekking poles, and I have a couple things of rope here that I'm going to use to set up a couple different configurations. So I am going to do the best to not take as long. It's been a minute since I've done tarp configurations and camping that way. So just stick with me. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Thank you. So here in the beginning, I'm staking out all four corners of the tarp and then moving the front stakes 2.5 tie out points, putting in the trekking pole and guide lining out those side tie out points to open up the entrance of the tarp tent configuration, and then guidelining out the front. I would say that this is my easiest and fastest tarp setup, and the one I like most out of all three setups. All right, so here's that first setup. I know it took a minute, and it's slightly narrow, but again, you can always widen it out, make it smaller, a little bit more profiled. But here's my first configuration with the DDM Hammocks 3x3 Pro Series tarp. And what makes it really Pro Series is that if you see on the front, it does have clips, as well as the other end has the male end. So you can clip them together with another series of tent tarps. It does have grommet holes as well as more centerline tie-out points on this tarp. But again, this one enclosed, pretty roomy. One trekking pole to hold up the tarp. Can do some more stake tie outs to keep it more leveled during windy days like this. But again, this one is a lot more headspace moving around. The only downside is this trekking pole here in the center, to avoid knocking it over. Overall, it is a windy day, but it's decently well in windy conditions with this, as long as you keep, like I said, the trekking pole decently stable. Down here, I do have the rubber piece for this, but if you take this out and again stake it straight into the ground, I feel like it would be a lot more stable, and especially if you get your trekking poles that do have those wider base parts down at the bottom to give it more of stability when standing straight up. For right now, I do have it just on the top of the trekking pole, nothing covering that part up. But this is a decently strong tarp, so I don't think it'd be pushing through with that. But like I said, it has a lot of inside space for inside the tent, for your gear. I've camped in this configuration once before, back in my old videos. But I did not have any stakes in here, so I had to go, and as you saw in the video, cut some stakes off. But that's camping, that's bushcrafting. This is what I'm here for the channel, to do those sorts of things. And I'll do voice over for the configuration, just showing you what I did, and how to properly set up this type of configuration for the tarp. So I'm done with this one. I am going to tear it down into the A-frame situation with the 2 trekking poles and the center guideline for that. And I'm going to time lapse and again voice over what I'm got going on for this configuration. So here in the beginning, I have no clue why, but I decided to stake out all 4 corners of the tarp. The wind was just still blowing crazy, so I'm pulling out the guideline over the tarp just to get an idea of the distance and how much I needed. I tried to put both the trekking poles straight up, but yet again the wind was kicking my butt, and so I tied off the end of one of the tie-out points on the trekking pole to keep it more upright, even though again the wind kept blowing it over numerous times, and I was having issues with the tent pegs that I used out of wood, and they weren't just deep enough into the ground. So right now I'm just doing some last minute adjustments, trying to get the tent as taut as I can, just to help fight, like I said, this wind that's been going on the whole video. At the end, I'll do a, like I said, 360 of the setup. All right, so after all this time, finally got it up. This double trek pole A-frame situation with wooden freaking tent poles was not a good setup. For me at least, I struggled horrendously. Let me wrap this up. Try to do maybe one more configuration, and we'll call it a day, because this wind is freaking killing me with trying to set up this tent. There's no winning. But I'm bringing you this content, bringing you guys this video, and I love doing this, even though it's aggravating as... Yeah. So I'll catch you on that next configuration. Actually, before I do take it down, I'm going to give you the walk around. After fighting with this wooden one, I went and got a regular tent stake and got that into the ground to help just stabilize this thing, because like I said, the wind was killing me. But again, solid A-frame, double-ended, good for airflow like today. Both sides covered. The bad thing about this double trek pole A-frame is, again, stability. Again, like I said, if you get those pieces for your trekking pole, maybe you'll have better luck than I did. But looped it around the tie out points down to here to make an adjustable loop. Here I was having such issues, re-looped it around just like this. Same thing I did on that side with that, but came down here and just did an overhand, and then looped it around just to secure it. Again, I can go over the tent stake itself, tighten that down, and that's not going anywhere. Then, like I said, let's undo it, just pull it around. Like I said, I did a couple overhands, and then there it goes. But that was a nightmare. All right, so I'm just going to use this rope and make a guy line all the way over there just because I'm tired of struggling with what I've been doing. So I am actually going to show you guys a new rope tying situation that I learned here recently, which is the one-handed knot, which you come around whatever you need to, and you get this type of hold with your tag end on whatever side you want to do, but it has to go between your pointer finger and your middle finger, just like so, and your thumb is right over on this side in line with your running line, and then you have your pinky resting on that running line. And so what you want to do is you want to take your thumb, go under, over, and then with your running line, you want to cut over with your running end through the loop you created with your thumb. So just like so, here, get your thumb, go under, your index and your middle finger are going to go back underneath with your tag end, and then pushing your tag in through that loop and creating a small bite, and then pull it to where you need. Let's go see how far we can get before we can get no more. So luck have it, we just ran out. So what we're gonna do is we are going to tie some more rope to rope. So hold on. So all I'm going to do is use this knot right here, make a bite in my rope, go through there, hook onto that knot, and then do that. So that now I have this rope extended more, and so what we're going to do is come around the tree with all of our rope. So we have our new running end from across now, the old running end or the main line to that tree. And now what we're going to do is a trucker's hitch, but without using that normal overhand, making the slip knot and pulling the line through. We're going to use all one fluid type motion to create all that at once. So we're going to get that running end right over that main line, like such across the tree, over the main line, over on our left side. From our left side, we are going to create that overhand loop. Now we are going to get a bite from that main line through that overhand loop, and then start pulling down on that line, and that will create that trucker's hitch situation that will come out all at once. We could also do the auto lock, which comes around and pulls back over that line, and I'll show you once I'm done pulling all of the slack through. So what we're doing is we're crossing it like so and pulling, and so it locks all of it together. We'll come around, easier to see. So like I said, pulling on that main line until we're taut. This is just going to lock just like so, and now we have a taut line. And I'm going to do one last configuration after all this. And then just to keep it secure, we are going to put just an overhand type loop right here, just for the sake of stability. Stop recording. All right. So here's what I got mostly set up. Still trying to fight these daggone wooden tip peg situations. But it is what it is for now. Like I said, I'm fighting this wind today, and it is not happy. Let me tie these ends down and I'll show you what it looks like. So here's another knot that I'm going to show you real quick for setting up lines all the way up to your tarp. And again, this is another adjustable one. That's what we're going to do. Let's make an overhand loop, come across that main line, just like a pressic knot in a way. You're going to loop around and get as much as that small loop over here to that right as possible, then bringing that running line, making a bite and coming through. This creates that adjustable sliding knot. Again, tighten everything down, creates better friction on that line so that we can tighten it and adjust it as needed. But again, if you pull this, all of it comes undone. There's no looping in through another line, having to fidget with untying stuff. So let's do a couple more adjustments, and stop. All right, so here it is. Again, it's more of a not a true A-frame, but again, just has that. You can lift it up further if you'd like to, tying it off to whatever you want, especially again with trekking poles. You can always do that. But this main line right here, dude, helps so much getting this up with doing this configuration, which again, like I said, goes through the main line. I've got one tie out here, and then 1, 2, 3 in the back as far as pegs, and that's it. Never used this configuration before. I do have some tie out points here just to slide this up and down the main line to get it as tight as I can. This helps prevent me from pulling too much this way, and then this helps prevent too much pulling of that direction, if that makes sense. So one side helps stop pulling too much on another side and keeps it relatively taut. Like I said, I can always pull more on that side to give more of an adjustment. Let me go show you guys that. So like I said, I've got this done. All I have to do is pull all this through, pull this, and just like that, I can, this auto lock, pull more on it to give it a more taut line down to, at the end of the tent or tarp setup, shelter setup. And all I have to do for this right here is to pull away, and all of it starts to come undone, especially again this loop right here. As I pulled it, all of it starts to come undone. I can pull the rest of my main line, or running in through that with that auto lock, coming through and just pulling the rest of this, and all of that just comes undone. So that's it for that. Thanks for watching as much as you did watch. I did have a chest rig for most of that. But thanks for watching. As always, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one.